And are you refreshed?
Yes.
Good. Now what? On the aisle right here.
So I wanted to talk about the grid. And I had a lot of questions about the grid, and I've been playing with it since we began yesterday, and just playing with different ways of getting into the grid and feeling the grid and filling the grid. And so I'm playing.
Let's just use one word for that, and that's preparing the grid, because you're always in it.
Okay.
In other words, your grid is your point of attraction. It's like the framework that's going to fill in with the details. So you've got this general vibration going on, this primary vibration going on, which is your point of attraction, which is what the grid is. And so when we talk about preparing the grid, we're talking about deliberately achieving a vibrational stance, or deliberately releasing resistance that allows the vibration to raise. Yeah.
So what I notice, or perhaps my commentary about myself, is that I'm a little sloppy about how I let the grid fill in, and I'm becoming more focused.
Well, we want to again, we're going to nitpick with words, because once you really get this, it makes it easier. You can't let or not let the grid fill in. It's filling in. So what you mean is, I'm a little sloppy about my point of attraction, because I think all over the place. I'm not thinking and feeling deliberately.
Right.
All right, cut it out.
That's certainly the goal. So what I'm thinking of are different ways, and I'd like to go through the process that I'm developing about this.
Good.
And so the first step for my process is to be aware that there is a grid, that it's full of energy formations, and that grid is something I want to pay attention to.
And would you say, because we would,
okay,
that your grid, therefore, is a vibrational state of being, and it equals your beliefs? Because a belief is just a thought you keep thinking.
Right.
And a belief is a habit of thought. So your grid really is your beliefs.
So I've never...
That was good.
I've never thought of beliefs as being part of the grid. So that's an interesting...
But you got to feel the logic of it.
Right.
If a belief is a thought that you think,
right,
and a thought that you think is the reason for your vibration, and your vibration is your point of attraction, and that's the same label that we're giving to the grid, right, then your grid equals the set of beliefs that are active within you. Let's
right,
begin again.
Right.
Let's make it really, really accurate. Active beliefs. Your grid equals your active beliefs. Because you might have believed something, and you might still believe it if somebody reminds you of it, but if it's not active within you, then it is not affecting your point of attraction. So active beliefs equal your grid.
So as I focus on my beliefs, and as I activate more empowering beliefs, that those become active in my grid, and the energy of my grid becomes a higher energy.
Yes, that is absolutely accurate. There's another way to do that, though, also. Okay. It's not just focusing on empowering beliefs and thereby raising your vibration. It's the absence of disempowering beliefs. In other words, your cork floats. Mm-hmm. That's up there where the pure positive energy is. You can hold it under the water. That's what negative emotion is. But when you let go of it, it's going to bob right back to the surface. So we must be accurate. When you meditate and stop thought, you stop resistant thought. And when you stop resistant thought, your vibration raises, and your grid is in the position that you would like it to be, to fill in with things wanted. That's why, have you ever experienced meditation? You're determined to quiet your mind, but you can't, because thoughts keep flooding into your mind. As Esther sat to meditate, in the very first time after she had been encouraged to do so by Theo, she was just counting her breath. And right away, she felt that detached state. She released thought so quickly, and her vibration raised, and she could feel that energy feeling in her body. And as she and Jerry meditated over the next several months, 9 months, during much of that time, we were speaking to Esther. We were projecting those blocks of thought. and she was translating them. The thoughts were flooding into her mind, but she thought it was her own mind chattering, so she would just breathe more to get rid of us. So what happens to you often when you get your vibration up there, you begin receiving the streams of thought.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so last night I was preparing, hopefully, to be here today in the hot seat. And as I was aligning my energy with that, it was like all these thoughts started coming up. And all of these ideas and all these awarenesses were beginning to focus and, come into my, if you will, my grid. And that just felt good. It felt like the unraveling of perhaps some disempowering thoughts, some thoughts of, a little bit of self-judgment and such. And I wanted to let those go.
Unraveling is a good word, but we really prefer the word just deactivating, because every thought that's ever been thought still exists, and you have the potential of tapping into any of them too, if you're in the vibrational vicinity of them. So rather than thinking about undoing thoughts or unraveling thoughts, think in terms of just releasing unwanted thoughts. We have teased in the past about deactivating them, but you can't deactivate a thought that you're looking at. I'm going to deactivate that. No, you're not. I'm not going to think about that thing I'm thinking about. But you can deactivate one thought by activating another. And so that's why even with meditation, we encourage you to focus upon something really general. Those of you who have been listening to us for a while, isn't that the ultimate in going general? Listen to the dripping of a faucet, or focus on the flicker of a flame, or listen for the sound in the air conditioning in the room. Focus on something very generally, so you're still focused, but you're focused in a detached state. And when you do so, you allow your vibration to raise, and then the thoughts from broader perspective can begin to fill your mind, as you discovered. Yes.
Right.